Hi, everybody. I'm here with Angelo Pancho, and we are talking recruiter enablement in 2025. Angelo is probably one of the most regular guests on this YouTube channel now. And so good to see you again, Angelo. Give us a quick introduction. You've done this many times on here before, but just in case anybody's never seen you before, who are you?
All right.
Tell us about your background.
Absolutely. Hi, everyone. Angelo Pancho. I'm with a company called ERM, Environmental Resources Management. In fact, I just started here not too long ago, going into my third month here, more on the talent enablement and sourcing side. So I'm a manager of talent enablement and sourcing. Prior to this, I've been in the recruiting field for quite some time, a very similar time frame as Adam, late 90s, and anywhere from staffing firms to corporate recruiting, etc. And so that's a little bit about me. I'm located here in California, and nice to meet you all.
Cool. Okay. So, I mean, like you and I have spoken a lot about recruiting enablement over the last 18 months or so. Let's
Yep.
talk about it in the context of 2025. Like, what's new this year? What are the new things happening in talent acquisition we need to know about? And, what's like on your agenda? What's maybe not as important this year? Give us a flavor of where things are.
Sure.
State of play.
Yep, absolutely. And so I can just tell you from my perspective, just being in this particular company, it's more of a mid-sized company, 8 to 9,000 members, and we are developing a sourcing team, a sourcing department. And so, of course, right now for my focus at least, is mainly towards the North America side, and so Canada, USA, et cetera. And then we're going to be, of course, going global. And so for us in this company here, we are going to be developing a global sourcing community. And so we can share best practices, center of excellence, tips, strategies, etc. For me, in terms of my team right now, focusing on North America, I'm developing a lot of training sessions. And so anywhere from group regional training sessions, as far as sourcing tips, strategies, what works, what doesn't work, etc., specifically on how to find talent within the environmental and sustainability field, right? And so, what I mean by that, anywhere from air quality professionals to environmental engineers, project managers, et cetera. And the list goes on. It's a pretty massive need that we have here. And then in terms of technology standpoint, of course, for us, we are looking for different platforms that will help us scale our recruitment efforts. So anywhere from, of course, a CRM to simple niche job boards, uh, all sorts of things such as that. And then in terms of just outside of ERM, of course, we're always looking for upscaling opportunities. And so I'm going to be focusing also on the talent upskill community for myself. And then, but also outside of that, as far as technologies, obviously we're going to lean towards the workflow and agentic AI and just setting up LLMs specifically for helping out recruiters and sourcers. So there's a lot of things going on here, but it all boils down to coaching, training, and teaching from my perspective.
Okay. So let's start with the first one. I'm interested to know, like, when you're setting up a global talent sourcing community, like, how do we do that? Do we just set up a Slack thread or a Teams thread, or do we do events, or what's the best way to go about doing that?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question because it's going to vary from company to company. So, at least, of course, for us, the good thing about our company is that we do have the Microsoft suites, and so of course the SharePoint sites, the Teams sites, etc. So we'll be building it out slowly from there. Now, Microsoft is coming out with, or they already have some good applications, a suite of applications that we already have access to, anywhere from a OneNote to Copilot to now Loop, which is a newer one, which I really like. It's more of it's an internal workspace, and you can have multiple workspaces. And I'm starting to get more attached within the Loop application here because of the flexibility. And so that's how we're going to build it out, is internally get the central location, and then of course tips and strategies and resources within that particular central location. And then from there, we'll branch out to other platforms that we have access to, whether it is a LinkedIn recruiter or whether it is now I just got off the phone with another company that focused more on researching, right? And so we'll get tied into those different platforms and then tie it into our centralized platform internally. And so we'll build it out slowly from inside and then get the infrastructure down first and then build that out. And that's where the teaching and training comes in.
Okay. When you first because this is not your first job in the recruiting enablement kind of area. What's the first, you're not even at 90 days. I was going to say, what's the first 90 days look like? Because you've already got a big agenda of things that you're going to be working on. Like, how do you get around the organization to find out where you can make the most impact? And like, what have you had to do on that?
Well, I mean, a lot of meetings and a lot of one-on-ones with leaders, talent professionals. Leaders, when I say leaders, I'm talking about TA leads, but also hiring managers and what's their pain points. And I know that, so for example, in the North America side of things, on the West Coast, we call it MAP, Mountains and the Pacific, aggressive hiring needs all up and down the West Coast. And that's where a lot of our revenue is coming from what I'm looking at right now. And so engaging with the hiring managers, the managing partners to the HRBPs to the partners itself. I mean, that's where, because they're seeing it real time and it's on a day in, day out basis. And so partnering with them to see what are the pain points and how we can assist them and what are some niche areas that we can focus on? What are some niche competitors that we can focus on as well? And so, really getting the lay of the land from their perspective, and then building it out accordingly. And of course, we have to have a lot of creativity and innovative ways to approach our recruiting aspect of it. And so, we got to map it out from there. What's working, what's not. We do daily, weekly sync up meetings, sometimes multiple sync up meetings. Now we're having like these quick hits, like 15-minute sync up meetings. Hey, where we're at, how things going, what's working, what's not, etc. And so a lot of projects. Of course, that's more of a high level overview, but there's a lot more to this.
So you talked about the types of people that your organization hires for. I mean, they sound really like deep specialists, and I imagine that they're in demand and that they're highly, highly marketable for your organization to go and win new business and all that type of thing. So, your previous background in working in like engineering, automation engineering area,
Right.
I guess that's a lot of in-demand talent as well.
Correct.
What are the important things we need to know about in the type of company where like you got to roll the red carpet out?
Yeah, and so for us, luckily our company has a strong name within this particular environmental sustainability industry. So I just saw a report that we're number 7 when it comes to the environmental consulting, which is really good. I mean, it's just fantastic. And we also have a global presence. And so I know that the marketing and branding team is on an active campaign to really make our ERM logo and just the branding stand out, which they're doing a fantastic job with. And it's slowly, right? It's slowly but surely we're going to get there as far as on the branding perspective. Now, in terms of practicalities, we want to make sure that everybody's consistent with the messaging, consistent with the logos, consistent with the colors, right? The consistent as to how we approach clients and also candidates. And so we want to make sure that everybody has the same messaging. And so it's really important for us, the talent branding aspect of it. In my opinion, it's all about branding, because whether you're on a platform like LinkedIn or whether you're doing a Google search or even it's a simple job posting, the brand has got to be extremely consistent, and that has to be, that's got to be preached, for the most part, internally and also amongst our team members internally, and also even to the candidates externally.
I mean, I think it's even more important in an organization like yours where it's all kind of human, like intellectual capital based, because the people that you're approaching as potential candidates, they might want to come and work at your organization, but they also might be wanting to move in-house. And if they move in-house, then they're potentially going to be a customer for you as well. So like,
Yeah.
this is all like it's like very fluid, and you want to be impressing people for more than one reason, I think.
Right.
Final thing I wanted to just talk about was you mentioned like generative AI and agentic technologies. General thoughts, what's the opportunity?
Well, so there's a lot of opportunity with this company here because really we don't have any tools and technologies, but we do see the need of time is a factor for us because our TA members are overloaded with when it comes to meetings, whether it's a meeting with a candidate, whether it's meeting with trying to set up an interview or right meeting with the hiring managers, et cetera. And so when it comes to the agentic and workflow process, we want something that's really user friendly and easy to use, not only on the TA perspective, but also on the candidate's perspective, whether it's setting up as scheduling an interview, what's available, or what's the next steps within the interviewing process. That's where the agentic AI can come in and be extremely helpful. And even when it comes to establishing the talent community, right? And so my vision for a talent community, of course, it's not just a simple email, but it's got to be a platform where people can go to where they can see the current events, current opportunities available, and if they have any questions, very similar to like a forum, right? Very similar to like the forums you see out there online, whether it's a Reddit or LinkedIn groups, et cetera. It's got to be more of a forum, but specifically for the niche type of skill set, whether it's environmental engineering, sustainability, project management, etc.
Couldn't agree more. I've done a lot of work in that area around talent communities, and I think it's got to be about sharing great knowledge and leading with value. And then maybe the fourth time, you ask them about their career and what they're planning, and should we have a conversation? Yeah,
absolutely. Candidate nurturing, absolutely.
Absolutely. Okay, Angelo, great to see you. Thanks very much for your time. Let's catch up again in a few months' time. I want to hear like what's fresh in the spring.
Sounds like a plan. Thanks so much, Adam. Appreciate that.
Cheers.